Yeah, heck yeah. So we've got some things planned now. This season, we decided to change things around because we didn't want to do the same thing all the time. That's us. It's lucky that I find the same shirt every day. All right, but what we're going to do, instead of random projects out of stuff every single week, this season, we're going to take one project each and build it from start to finish all the way through steps along the way. You'll be able to see the design process when we're creating patterns, how we do all the pieces. Not only that, but the whole time that we've done this show, one of the things that we really wanted to push is that it's real easy for anybody to do. It doesn't really cost that much money.
Exactly.
We've used stuff that we found around.
We're experts at that.
This season, we're going to use some professional level stuff and keep tabs and show you that even the professional level stuff is really pretty darn cheap.
Actually, it really is.
When it comes down to it. And now some of the things that we're getting, we're kind of splitting between us. So it's, we're getting enough for 2 projects or more. But ultimately, we're going to keep a running tally throughout the season of where we are. And at the end, we're going to take our projects up a level.
And we're also going to keep track of how much we spend. So at the beginning, from start to finish, you'll see how much it actually does cost us. And it's really
like
not that much.
Said that.
I know. I say it in more plainer terms. That, that's just
all right.
I lost my hard hat.
So, and your brain rolled out with it. All right. So to get started, so what we're going to do is we're going to go with helmets, fantasy helmets. And the reason, and we've done a lot of fantasy, we've done some various headgear in the past, but one of the things, Jeff and I do we do lots of cosplay, we do lots of events, we do lots of Renaissance fairs, and so we wanted to make something that was real nice that we could wear to all of these things, and fantasy is a direction that we can go real easily and fit into everything, but we also are still going headwear because it's something that even if it were making armored helmets, you don't necessarily need armor over the whole outfit. You could still wear the helmet and so forth, and you can still build off more than that. So they're definitely standalone pieces.
And the headpiece, when we, because we're huge in the Renaissance community, so we really like going out there, dressing up. And one of the biggest main pieces to look at is actually headwear. In the Renaissance, just about everyone was always wearing something on their head. So we figured, you know what? What's a good visual spot? Oh, I can't find Chris. Well, let's look for that feather bow. Oh, there he is.
And in a crowd, you can easily pick out people up high than everything else.
So Chris, we were talking about all the, what we want to start out with and so forth. We're talking about fantasy theme and everything, and
yes.
I'm kind of really looking forward to something more of the mythical side and everything for us. So I was thinking maybe I would go for something more like what a troll would wear.
Excellent direction. You see a lot of folks doing trolls without headgear, and they'll do various makeup and ears and things.
Foliage and horns, but I want to do something bigger.
So going full on helm with that would be absolutely amazing.
And I think what I'm also going to do is that not only from the headpiece, but I'm probably going to I want to do something where it kind of dribbles down over the shoulder just a little bit. So it's, big headpiece, and it kind of comes down just a little to see where that leads versus just a...
Sure. From my aspect, I'm really... So the helms that we have here on the table, actually from a pattern... that was a freebie download from Kaiju Cosplay. Thank you, Kaiju Cosplay. Love your free pattern.
Shout out to you guys.
One was a Magneto because that's what the pattern kind of is. And one I went kind of a fantasy realm with horns and stuff. And I'm a big fan of kind of the chaos direction. And so this time around, I'm going to challenge myself.
Oh.
And I'm going to go something more fey, elven, something more subdued, regal than crazy horns and tongues and stuff.
I think I'm gonna do is, we'll get to that part later in the show. So today, instead of like taking our crafts and everything else like that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna basically take some paper and we're gonna design process. And like we stated, it's gonna be from start to finish. So at the end of the season, we're hoping we have a really good project all for you guys. And
oh yeah,
just follow along with
hoping.
us.
So yeah, so some of this design, what I think we should start with is just some general sketches of some things we would like. I've got some extra paper. I will probably, after I get something small, maybe sketch out on a larger scale. The other thing with these helmets is that they are made out of 10mm foam. And what we're going to be using is also 10mm foam. It's kind of on the thicker side.
The thing I like about this, I have to say, is it's foam. It doesn't stretch out all the way, but just enough for me to put on here.
Sure.
And it fits perfectly fine.
And the thicker foam like that is good for larger pieces and stuff. 10 might have been a little bit overkill, but hey, when have we stopped at regular kill? But the other thing is that having these pieces here, we can take measurements of these to kind of use as a base idea on just how big we need to make things. And it's kind of snug on me. This is the basic pattern that, straight off of the pattern. And remember that anything that we measure off of these is the outside of the foam, and because the foam's thick, it's going to be a little bit smaller on the inside math.
So what?
I'm going to get to sketching.
While you're sketching and so forth, I'm kind of looking at So I'm actually I work at local Renaissance fairs and Sherwood Forest Fair, which is local to Austin, Texas, about 30 minutes east of here off of 290. And basically what we do there, it's kind of like Robin Hood, Maid Marian and such, but it has a lot of fantasy aspects. So shout out to the fairy cast and everyone out there. So I'm thinking I really kind of want to do something that's a troll-like. So I'm probably what I'm going to do is take one of, make my own helmet out of this and get the design from Chris and work with me on this. And basically, because I kind of like the way how this feels, but I think what I'm going to do is actually, instead of having it go all the way over right here, on the right-hand side, I might have it a little bit jagged edge or something.
Yeah.
Make it look like maybe he was in a battle. I think what I'm going to do is take off one of the horn, make a horn look like it broke off. I think that'd be kind of neat.
Note that these sweep up towards the back, and that's actually not the top, but so the bottom sweeps up, and so that's actually so that you can look up without it hitting the base of your neck. So that's the other reason for bringing these is to see, because these fit right and you're able to move around. You can see where those design pieces are. There's a lot of helms in the Middle Ages and such would go to about like just below the ear, right around the jaw line. And then when you're needing to protect further down, you have articulated pieces, or you have more flexible pieces like mail or something to that effect. So bear that in mind so that you don't make something that all of a sudden you can't move in.
I like that. So when you're drawing for your regal type ordeal, what's the color scheme that you're going to go for?
Well, that's a good question.
Check this out, guys. I love this. And the thing I like about Chris is that he always draws out everything that he does first. Basically what he does, he draws it out, he sketches it, and then he takes measurements. And then also on top of that, he looks at the color scheme. He looks at what kind of materials that he wants to use. Are you going to make yours kind of like of a dragon type scale? Are you going to have some foliage come off of it? It's going to be nice and smooth. What kind of texture are you designing going for?
I think what I'm going for is smooth, but I'm going to go with I want to go with like smooth and basically like a aluminum kind of a brushed silvery, so kind of a sheen to it. But I think what I'm going to do to bring in the fantasy aspect, aside from just kind of the shape of stuff, is that I'm going to do some a wreath around it with leaves, flowers, all still done in foam, and then a big gem in the front, and maybe some sort of feathery sort of thing off of it. What I'm trying to decide here, though, is kind of where I want.
Not that great at sketching, by the way, so I'm just kind of like having fun with this and such. So I'm kind of trying to figure out, because I really want to have something to where, I want it to where the one horn's broken off. I want another horn kind of come, like probably swirling up, and I'm wondering how I'm going to do this. but I also want something to where it kind of drapes from the side. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is having a bunch of foliage, make it look like moss is growing on my head, and then kind of dripping down just a little bit.
Okay, I think I have something initially to work with. A little bit of a gothic-y arch.
Okay.
So let me throw a...
And those for you that are streaming in right now, we're Kaiju Labs Media. We were once called Fanboy TV. Back in fan service about less than an hour ago, we kind of talked about why we transitioned over that. You can always go to our fan page on Facebook about that and such. But, we're Kaiju Labs Media, and what we want to do is basically we create stuff. And with us here at Combat Creations, we take everyday household items and we basically... bring, like say a toilet paper roll and a couple of wires and a coat hanger, and we turn it into something new. So it's a huge, entire brand new style that we do here, and I'm really looking forward to see what this is. Are you going to have some kind of like pauldrons or anything coming off of that, Chris?
You know what? I'm going to start with the helm, and then I'll deal with... I'm going to use it as a central point towards other stuff for the costume in the end. But I think I'm gonna go with a design that's sort of a keyhole looking, so you won't see a whole lot of my face. But part of that is, and making it kind of a taller helm, part of that is leading into the face sort of thing. But by elongating the helm, obviously I'm kind of a bigger guy, bigger around the face, and elves are more elegant, regal, and so I'm trying to use this to hide some of my face in more of a central piece and stretch it out helm-wise to kind of give it a little more of that regal feel.
So with my helmet, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and have it when it comes on. There's going to be a piece that kind of looks like mostly foliage that kind of just like it's been growing on me for some time, and kind of import that into the costume. You've been growing on me. What? Chris and I have been friends for about 12 years, guys. We go a long way. This is what is wrong with you? So we're both gonna make the pieces out of foam, which I think is gonna be really neat doing that. So let's do a shoulder here, and we're just gonna let that drip off right here. And basically, right here, if you guys see, basically what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna have this piece right here. I'm gonna have a almost like kind of like a ram horn coming through, and then this horn on this side is going to be broken. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to have the whole entire helmet being completely enfoiled. So I want you to see that I'm wearing a helmet, and then across here is where everything starts to kind of grow and kind of drape off. And it's not only that, but it's also going to drape off on the back of the shoulder piece. So when you're seeing this piece right here, it's kind of go back here. And the back piece, I think, is actually, it's going to go a little bit lower than the front piece. And then here we go. Oh, I'm starting to run out of ink. Let's go for a new pen here. Here we go. All right.
New pen!
So come right here, and then, we got the ram horn that kind of curls and then goes right there. And then we got that broken horn on that side. So you can kind of see right here when we flip it, comes right back here, and then more of that foliage stuff all comes out here with some of that right glowing off of that. I'm also, thinking of trolls. There's one of my favorite trolls to kind of look at the Renaissance segments, and one of my favorite trolls out there, I believe he's out in Atlanta, Georgia, Florida. I'm not too sure. I apologize. Ick the Troll King. He is one of the biggest trolls out here, out in the nation of U.S.
On the internet?
On the internet.
The biggest troll on the internet!
No, he's Ick the Troll King, and he's been one of my biggest influences with any kind of fantasy character that I've ever wanted to create and so forth. My friend Amanda used to play a character named Rihanna the Troll, and she got me really involved with that kind of stuff. And my friend Angela Staha has really helped me develop my skills into craft making, besides your good self and so forth. But, looking at that looking at all those looks and those various designs that these creators and these master craftsmen have made have really inspired me. I've always wanted to play a troll character. I'm definitely going to have a couple of tusks and so forth, so I'm kind of going full on. So we'll see where this leads with this kind of outfit.
What do you think? So I got the slightly elongated...
Check this out, guys. Look at this.
So we got
pretty
that.
cool.
We can see. So the kind of elongated look here is just some foliage here, a big gem in the middle. Because I think I do lots of Warhammer, so I think elves. I think big Warhammer.
So, are you gonna have any kind of design on the helmet itself instead of having it just plain and just right here?
See, initially I was thinking a bit of a trim of some sort. Maybe something done in Warbler around the edge.
I'm sorry. What is Warbler?
Warbler!
Heard it before, but for the viewers back at home, what is that?
So Warbler is a substance that's that uses it's kind of bits of wood fiber and some. It's a type of thermoplastic with wood.
Thermoplastic. I love it.
So
no, I know. Yeah.
So it comes in sheets, and you can cut it to shape. You can do all sorts of stuff with it, and you just heat it up, and it sticks to itself. It sticks to other things. You can shape it with heat, and it just cools down and stays put. And so it would make, if I'm trying to do just a little bit of trim here.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know exactly what, but I've got, I think the trim look might be good.
Okay.
That's something kind of going around the base there.
I think with mine, with my kind of character and so forth like that, I really want to go for a
what
woodsy type
is
design.
this gonna be?
This is like I was explaining is what this is gonna be like a lot of plants and such growing off. But with Troll, I kind of want to be a little silly. I don't want to be too barbaric or mean or anything because I want to I also with me the characters I play I really want to be family and kid friendly. So I really want to have something. I'm trying to figure out what I may want to add on here, and I think I know the exact piece that I will definitely add to this. But, it's just like, okay, we got all this, and I want to put some foliage going around here, and then come over here a little bit. But I'm thinking, I was like, do I want to do a bird nest? And a lot of people, in the Renaissance Summits with, fairy characters, I always see a bird nest or some kind of little house coming off of them. I want to do something a little bit differently. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do with the back of the helmet is I'm going to make it look like there's a house, like a fairy house, basically.
Okay.
So right here, I think in the back, let's design this piece. So there's the helmet back here. We got that little random horn. I think I might take this horn off, but when we go in here, play it like that. There we go. Okay, and there's that foliage coming off. I actually think I may have it to where there might be looking like a little window, a little doorway maybe, another little window. And just so viewers know is that when you are designing these creations of yours and so forth like that, you look at your print, you look at what you drew and everything else like that, and it looks so silly right now. But you really want to look at it and realize, okay, yeah, I'm doing this, I want this, I'm visualizing it, but until you actually get into the full crafting detail of what you're putting on here, how you're doing, the best thing I like to do is put it down for a moment after working for such a long time. Walk away, come back, and then re-look at it. And if there's something you don't like on there, just take it off and then re-add on something else over it, that piece that you just took off. And, you're always constantly designing characters. Even when I've seen people completely like, hey, this is cool, I got what I want, this and this, and then realize, there's still years later, I'm playing characters at the Renaissance Fair, and I'm still designing everything. I'm doing different looks, I'm seeing what different styles work for my character. I used to play a Fairy King. I still play the character once in a while, but when I played that Fairy King, I was constantly changing it. I think it took me almost 8 years until I was actually happy with the design I was going for.
And that's not to say that you were unhappy with it during those 8 years.
No, not at all. It's just, it helped me, okay, well, this worked out, this didn't really work out, I don't really like the way this is going, but, and then it's always neat, because the really cool thing is, when you get photographers and they take a photo of it, they're like, oh, wow, you look at it, it's like, wow, that's really cool. Oh, I don't like that piece, I'm going to make sure I take, change it or something. And that's another little hint that you guys can do. So when you're creating outfits and so forth, take a photo of it. Take a photo with someone wearing your piece, because when that happens, you know, when you go back and you look back at that photo, you're going to see what other people are seeing. Because when you're just seeing it like this, you're like, oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. But until you see it on you or on somebody that you're making it for, you're not too sure just yet. So, Chris, what you doing right now?
So what I'm doing is I'm sketching out essentially what I want to do a full size. So I took some basic measurements off of this one, knowing that this one is not quite where I want pattern-wise. And it's around 7 inches wide. So I went with around the 7.5. I'll probably actually go out to 8 or 8.5, make it a little bit bigger. And if I need to put some padding in, I will. And then up and down, this was about 10 inches from crown to the front base here. And so I'm actually elongating it to about the 13-inch mark to give it a little more height. So where this goes at the top of my head, it'll be an extra couple of inches up. And even looking at it, I think I want to really accentuate this thing.
Oh, really? So you're going to make it go a little bit taller and more narrow at the top?
Yeah, it's going to be more... I'll say I got a lot of Warhammer influences. And,
no, we both play Warhammer. We
their
absolutely
elves
love
have
it.
some tall helms, and I think I kind of like that taller peak there.
That actually looks really neat.
It's
I
gonna be
like the way that it is.
It's like a medieval helm, but definitely taken to a fantasy direction. And then.
So whatever your color scheme is, it'd be kind of cool if you did like a bright color and then have it kind of go more of a bronzy and then back to a bright color. Would that make sense? That'd be kind of, I mean, it's just
like a chameleon sort of look.
Yeah, just like a suggestion.
You know, today I was thinking about this and I found some Plastidip bronze and chameleon Plastidips and stuff, which would be an interesting base for it. Gotta focus on what I'm doing here because we are running low on the time. Yeah, and then a gem in the middle. That's where I'm going to do some extra spiffy things. Yeah, so I'm keeping. I obviously have to make it a little wider to be able to fit me easier with the extra foam because this is snug and I don't want it to be snug. But I think the extra height here takes away from that and really draws it out some. Right around here, I put a mark about where my eyes are in this helm to be the eye holes here, so I'm sure to have enough space there. I think I like the general shape of this. And when we get around to patterning, that's when I'm going to kind of play with it a little bit more, so long as I have an idea going in.
Yeah.
When we do get to patterning, I'll try and get a little poster board about the same size and general shape from the side and from the front and put them together, so I'll have a stand that I can kind of build over some foil pieces and duct tape and all of that. But that's on another show. We're going to keep on drawing here, but next up is the Red Web.
Brad West, the Web. It is a awesome show. It's about comics, villains, heroes, everything. The whole entire charisma that he can bring to this is going to be amazing. So you guys definitely stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, kind of just take a look. And when we get to the finished product, I'm really looking forward to going back to all of our episodes.
And looking at the very beginning
and watching
just how awesome I am. In the meantime, catch us next week. We're back live, all the things, and continue crafting.
See you guys soon. Take care. This is neat.